What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode here, the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts from the side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of this Side Guys, been Tad the Side. And Tad, we're finally almost there. Like, I mean, it's sort of like a mix of emotions for me because it's like, I'm super excited the game is coming, but it's like I'm also super nervous because, like, based on recent history, the Niners have not been good at the Super Bowl. So it's just like I don't know what to sort of expect once we actually get to game day. But just the fact that they're playing for one, like, that's got me excited for sure too. But just like we're finally almost here for Super Bowl 58, and I mean, just like I said, I kind of all over the place, but I'm pretty sure you have more of a neutral state of emotion.
I was about to say, I'm surprised you don't have a box of donuts next to you and you're not saying, "Don't!" Because you are being such a homer right now.
Yeah.
My God, man. Just hope that your quarterback doesn't, overthrow your receiver by, 3 yards?
It was close to like 5, I want to say.
Oh, man, was it that bad?
I've seen the highlights, but then it makes me upset. So that
I've seen the highlights. Have you watched them recently?
Like, because they're showing the game constantly on NFL Network because it's like it's the rematch, so then we got to re-show the game, and then they show the mic'd up version of the game, and then it's like all this stuff. So it's like I've seen it, but then it's like I said, since I know what the ending is, it makes me upset. So I was like, why am I watching this? Then I changed the channel.
That's fair. Like, don't torture yourself, man. It's okay. It's okay. Number 10's gone. He can't hurt you anymore. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
But no, I mean, I will say this is it's going to be a good matchup, and all my students have been coming up to me all week. And it's actually funny, and you will like this. Is they've been saying like, who do you think is going to win? Now, I'm sorry, man. Here's what I've been telling everyone: is I want San Francisco to win. I am cheering for the 49ers. However, I do think it's going to be a Kansas City win. And you know what? I'm not even joking. Every single student said to me, "Boo!" Like they start booing me in my face.
Wow, well, that's surprising.
Cowboys fans are doing
that's surprising.
That.
Exactly, but
that's when you know people are sick of the Chiefs.
But we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll sort of close out our episode with sort of our predictions, how we think the game is going to go. But I mean, that's sort of giving you a preview of what's to come in today's episode. We're giving you our Super Bowl 58 preview episode here. We're going to get into some game bets. We're going to get into some fun prop bets as well. Tad's got you covered with some of those. And then, of course, like I said, we're going to close out the episode with our sort of just, how we think the game's going to go, who's going to win, score prediction, all of that. So we got that covered for you here. But guys, before we get into all that content, we want to give a shout out to our great sponsors at Underdog Fantasy. I mean, they just continue to be wonderful sponsors of ours. And I mean, you can sort of get into the action with the betting action. All of our game bets are going to be coming from the Underdog platform. This is as of recording on Thursday night. So yeah, please check to make sure whether these prop bets change over the course of the week, but maybe they'll stay the same. But just guys, it's a great platform to use. You make anywhere between 2 to 5 different prop bets you can pick for the Super Bowl. You can mix and match. You go with the Super Bowl, you go with the NBA, you go with MMA. You can sort of mix across a lot of different sports, but you pick anywhere between 2 and 5. The more picks you make, the more money you can win. And I mean, it's something as simple as just Deebo Samuel over under 12.5 rushing yards. I think that was one of the prop bets that I saw. Then it was like, especially for the Super Bowl, they go a little bit in depth with this game. So it's like they got prop bets for like, okay, Patrick Mahomes, 150 passing yards in the first half over under. So it's like they're going by the halves. They're also going by the quarter. I saw, Christian McCaffrey. Is he going to score a touchdown in the first quarter? So you got the over under there. And then you also got more multipliers for how possibly, risky the pick is. So yeah, that Christian McCaffrey one, I think you got a 3 times multiplier. So whatever you bet, if you hit on all your picks, whatever you get, you times that by 3. and you'll win that amount of money. So I mean, yeah,
excuse me if you hear some typing in the background.
So you got some fun mixed into there as well. But yeah, it's a fun way to sort of get into some betting action right before Super Bowl weekend. And guys, we want to give you our great promo code to really get you into the action, to really double up on your money. So use our promo code DESAI, DESAI, to double up on your initial deposit. So it's only the first one, unfortunately, but your initial deposit of $10 or more up to $500. Underdog Fantasy will match that dollar for dollar up to $500, like I said. And so, yeah, hypothetically, if you wanted to put in $500 on your first deposit, they will match that all $500, and you can bet with the $1,000 on their fantasy platform and betting platform as well. So it's a great sort of, way to sort of get into the action, like I said, right before Super Bowl weekend. So, guys, use that promo code DESAI, DESAI, to get in on the action on Underdog's fantasy platform.
And I will say this, and I say this every episode, is they are the most better friendly site I've ever seen in my life. And I'll give you an example. That Chris McCaffrey one is a great example of that. I honestly thought you were going to bring this up. There is what me and my friends call the chili pepper bet. And yes, so if you look,
multipliers that I was talking about, yep.
Okay, yeah. So those multipliers, they are crazy better friendly. Where it's like, yeah, it's something, Chris McCaffrey over 5 yards total, not even just like in a quarter, just total, something like that. I remember it was what was it during the AFC Championship? It was Lamar Jackson over half a yard rushing.
Yeah.
It was just like, my God. And they really don't lower your odds all that much if you decide to parlay it. And so they're basically giving you a freebie. Like they're just literally handing you one. So it's crazy. And I know I say this every episode, but like I don't know another betting site that does this. And I swear by this, even if they stop being our sponsors, I will still bet on Underdog Fantasy because they're so simple. It is so easy to use, and they are so better friendly that it's just like, you know what? You don't like us anymore, but goddamn, do I love you? I will show up to you like that creepy guy in that Christmas movie with all the signs. I'm like, come back to me, baby. What's that movie?
Oh, Love Actually? Is that
Love Actually? Thank you. I blanked on it. The guy from Walking Dead.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're talking about, especially when you're like the creepy guy with the signs.
I will do. What? No, I did not say. I said with the signs, not from signs. The creepy guy from Signs is Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, that's fair too. But yeah, it's a great
Underdog Fantasy, great platform.
100%. So yeah, it's a great website. It's a great application as well on Android as well as Apple devices. So I mean, just a really great way to get into some betting action. Like, I mean, I sound like a broken record, but it's really just a fun way to sort of get into the betting action right before Super Bowl weekend. And with that, I think, Tad, that's a perfect transition here to get into some of our favorite betting picks here for the game itself specifically. So we'll get to some of the fun bets. We'll sort of get to that a little bit later here, Tad. I know you got us covered there, but I came together here with some game bets here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as far as what you think about all these. So let's start with one of them. I'm going to go with Fred Warner over 8 tackles and assists. And that just means combined tackles. So honestly, I mean, the Niners defense has sort of been coming under fire lately with just how lackluster they've been doing as far as performance. Steve Wilkes has sort of been getting questioned as far as like, is he really the guy? Like we just went from, Robert Saleh, the great defensive coordinator, to DeMeco Ryans, a great defensive coordinator. Then Steve Wilkes is like a little bit up and down. Hasn't been the same level of like confidence with this guy compared to the previous two. So yeah, through the postseason, yes, they come away with 2 wins, but they've also had to come from behind, and they've been a little bit more 100% stressful. That is no question at all. So definitely heading into Super Bowl week, that was one of the biggest storylines. But I think for sure, once you get to the big game, you got to lead by example. And I 100% think Fred Warner is going to do that. In the 2 playoff games that the 49ers have played this season, he has totaled 20 combined tackles, 15 solo tackles, and 5 assists. So, I mean, Tad, that's simple math for you. That averages out to 10 combined tackles in both games.
Carry the 1. Divide by 2. I'm at 11.
Yeah. Maybe it's not that easy for you.
You
But
divide
overall,
by 3? Is that what I'm doing?
They didn't play in 3 games. They had the bye week, so that's maybe where you're
Damn it!
there. But just overall, it's just they've been playing a lot better. And obviously, we've talked about this so many times before, but Fred Warner is the leader of that defense. He is the quarterback of that defense. As he goes, the rest of the defense will go. So 100%, if he is giving his full effort, this defense should probably be in a better spot overall. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to lead those efforts. He's been playing really strong these last 2 postseason games. And so yeah, heading into the Super Bowl, I think he's probably going to be the guy to lead by example. And I think 8 tackles or assists, I think he could get into the double digits easily.
I like this bet a lot because you think about, the weakness of the Chiefs offense this year. It's been, they have no outside threat. That's what's been limiting their offenses. Patrick Mahomes really hasn't been gunning it deep, and whenever he does it, it usually ends up being, an interception or an incomplete pass. So, what does that also mean is that they're going to be attacking the middle of the field a lot this game. I think this is, I think people look at this game and see these two offenses that are expecting these fireworks. I'm actually expecting kind of ground and pound type of game from this. I think there will be plenty of scoring, but I don't think it will be in the style that people think. And I think that Fred Warner is going to be a very, very busy man on Sunday. So I actually like that. Again, with them being so better friendly, is like, this is a great bet to kind of, pair along with that chili pepper odd, whatever it ends up being at, on Saturday or Sunday, whenever you place your bet. Because yes, I think Fred Warner, especially as and I'm going to use a Madden, cliche here. He is a field general. It's like he is all over the place. And I think ever since Luke Kuechly retired, Fred Warner is probably the most athletic linebacker in the league for years now.
I'd agree with that. And I actually like the fact that you brought the fact that it could be a more ground and pound type of game. Kansas City's been really, like you said, without that sort of outside threat, without Tyreek Hill, they sort of been relying on Travis Kelce and the emergence of Rashee Rice, but it's like they've been leading more of the run game. So yeah, especially
heavily.
Even if they don't attack the middle of the field, like you're saying, they're still going to run the ball quite a bit. And Fred Warner is equally good in pass coverage as he is in run coverage as well. So yeah, I expect him to come in to make some big run stopping tackles as well.
And don't forget that actually, and I said this after the Super Bowl, that was that, by the way, that Patrick Mahomes should not have been the MVP last year. Who should have been the MVP? Nick Bolton, who was a middle linebacker all over the place, returned the fumble recovery. I forgot who fumbled it. Was it Jalen Hurts that fumbled that?
It was Jalen Hurts, yeah.
Okay, I was taking a picture with my family, and I heard everyone go nuts. I'm like, what's going on? And I turned around, and my dad and sister were not happy with me. But bottom line being is, Nick Bolton had the touchdown in the game, and he was all over the place, almost single-handedly shut down that offense, or at least limited them at worst. And I think Fred Warner has a big-time potential to do the same. Now, Amir, I have an interesting question for you, and maybe this is an asinine question because I'm not entirely sure how old he is, but we saw, by the way, shout out Patrick Willis, your boy got a Hall of Fame induction. Good for him.
Well-deserved, 100% well-deserved.
I'm shocked with the early retirement, but I'm happy. I'm shocked but happy. So before people start yelling at us, I'm like, he deserved being. I agree. Does he pull a Patrick Willis if you guys win this game, and does he retire early? Because if I'm not mistaken, he's like 30, 31.
The big thing with Patrick Willis, and we won't stick on this topic too long. We got more bets to get to, obviously, but that was the big thing with Patrick Willis. He was dealing with foot injuries that was sort of preventing him from playing at that high level that he once was at. So he was still really good, but I think just unfortunately, he was like, I'm not performing at my best. It's better that I retire. Whereas Fred Warner has relatively been, knock on wood, he's been healthy pretty much all his career. And so, I don't think it's going to be an injury concern. It's just going to be a longevity thing for him. He's still playing at a very high level this late in his career, too. Like you said, I think he's in his early 30s, if I remember correctly. So I think he's still got a lot of good years ahead of him to lead this defense and still be a continued force on that defense for sure. So he's still got a lot of years left, I think.
We'll see. I feel like you would have said like, no, I think Patrick Willis is going to come back big time and he's going to be fine. He is. I take back that take. He's 27. How is he 27? He's been in the league 10 years.
He's been in the league for a long time. Yeah, so that's a mistake on my part too. But that clearly shows that he still got a lot left in the tank then, for sure.
You guys are going to be so good for so long. I hate you.
All right, let's get to a team that a
I'm
lot of
sorry,
people.
real quick. I'm obsessing over whether my team keeps Zaire Franklin. And meanwhile, your all-star middle linebacker is 27 years old. Go fuck yourself.
And I think Dre Greenlaw, who's his running mate, is I think is only 25 or maybe even 24. But like, yeah, so we got a young tandem for sure again there. But let's get to a team.
You're the
You're sort of
worst.
talking about how you hate my team. But let's get to a team here that a lot of people are sort of, rooting against this
I'm
weekend. And that's
so
the
sick
Kansas
of them.
City Chiefs.
I am so
A
sick
lot
of
of
them.
people
Let
are
me just
not.
say this. Let me just say this. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I have to do this. Is notice how Patrick Mahomes, who is being a whiny little so-and-so, I'm trying to get better about my language. A lot more of my students watch this podcast than I thought. And they're like, you curse a lot. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
You do. You do.
I shut the fuck up. Anyway, point being,
Appropriate.
notice how, shut up. He bitches and moans for a week after he loses one regular season game against the Bills. And now, all of a sudden, the refs are throwing every call the Chiefs' way. And all of a sudden, what is it? Oh, no, this is great. That was a great team win. And blah, 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 blah. Now, I am so sick of Patrick Mahomes at this point. He absolutely turned me against this entire Chiefs team. And I'm from Missouri, man. My mom is going to the Super Bowl, which, by the way, I'm very jealous of.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. This is her second Super Bowl in 4 years.
That's impressive.
It is very impressive. We have some hookups, but still pretty good. And here's the funny thing: it was going to be my dad, but after the Lions lost, he turned it down. True story.
Understandable.
But I am so sick of the Chiefs at this point of playing, because this is exactly what the Patriots did. This is what every dynasty turns into, of how did we not get the call? The one time you don't get the call, and then every other time, also, oh no, the refs were great. It's just get out of here. I'm done with Kansas City. Done with them. Get out.
So a lot of people are feeling that same way, especially with the whole Taylor Swift thing being mixed into things
That
as
I don't mind.
well.
That's
So
not
it's
her
just like,
fault.
yeah, whatever it is. But just like, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people are rooting against the Chiefs this weekend. So, but let's talk about the Chiefs and specifically one of their players, another guy sort of garnering a lot of the media attention, especially because of that whole Taylor Swift thing. And that's Travis Kelce. So I'm going to go with the prop bet here. Travis Kelce over 74.5 receiving yards. In the biggest game, we were talking about this with Fred Warner. In the biggest game, you need your biggest stars to shine brightly, and that's exactly what's going to happen here with Travis Kelce. I mean, in 3 career games for the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes under center. So he started in 1 game in 2014. That was before Patrick Mahomes was the starter. Didn't play all that great that game. But since Patrick Mahomes has been the starter in 3 games against the San Francisco 49ers, which includes the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce is averaging 85 receiving yards. So, I mean, clearly he has a way of sort of finding a way to get open against this Niners defense. Yes, you can sort of argue that it's like it sort of changed over the years. It's not the same defense every single year, but it's been the same coach. So, I mean, it's sort of the same principles. Even like, I know we sort of talked about different defensive coordinators as well, but it's like, I think some of those things, elements sort of stay the same over the course of all those years, but still. So Travis Kelce finds a way. This includes the Super Bowl 54. I mean, he looked really good in that game. I know Tyreek Hill was in that game, so he got a lot of those receiving yards in that game, but Travis Kelce was still a good force in that game as well. I just expect him to be a big factor in this game because, like we sort of talked about earlier, where it's just like there's no real presence outside of Rashee Rice in that receiving game where you're sort of like, okay, this is a guy I need to watch out for. Whereas before, it was like Sammy Watkins was sort of doing things every so often. Tyreek Hill obviously was doing pretty well. Travis Kelce was really good. So, I mean, it's just like there's a lot of guys that you sort of need to worry about. And in this case, Damian Williams coming out of the backfield, he should have been the MVP in that game. Like, I mean, I should have. I was upset that they won, but it's like Damian Williams was clearly the best performer.
Honestly,
in that
the
game.
fact that like Patrick Mahomes comes in at number 3 of like who should have been, like, yeah, Damian Williams. I actually forgot about him. I'll be totally honest. Damian Williams, Nick Bolton, maybe Patrick Mahomes, maybe.
Yeah, but I think in this case, I mean, Travis Kelce has just looked good all postseason for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. He's averaging a little over 87 receiving yards in the 3 playoff games that they played this season. So I think easily he's being one of the more featured weapons in this passing offense because he's a guy that Mahomes can trust in crucial and critical situations. And so 100%, I think the 74.5, he should easily beat that here on the Super Bowl.
Oh, you say easily, really?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Let me start off my my response with this. And I'm gonna put you on the spot here. You ready? And
Let's hear it.
I'll filibuster while you think. While I filibuster, you think of your top 3 current NFL coaches. Okay.
Coaches. Okay.
Coaches, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's why I'm saying that, right? Is because while you're shouting out all these Travis Kelce stats of, oh, he's averaging this per game and he's doing this per game, I agree with you. He is still probably the best tight end in today's game. However, I think if you actually break it down, and trust me, I know this from our fantasy days, just a couple months ago, thank God we are done with that. Not that I don't love fantasy, but whew, man, that the dog days are rough. Is he was largely inconsistent with those numbers. He'd blow up for one giant game and then go about 4 or 5 games being your average tight end with 5 or 6 fantasy points, which usually translates to, like 3-4 catches for a solid amount of yards. And so I think that, he is definitely on the decline, which I'm not saying that's obviously it's a bad thing, but I'm not saying it's, any indictment on him. He is in his mid-30s. That one I know for sure. I'm not pulling a Fred Warner here. He is in his mid-30s. He's older than Rob Gronkowski, if I'm not wrong. And so obviously you're going to start declining, especially the way he plays. But at the same time, he's not himself. And so before you give your list, one last thing I want to say. This is why I hate daily. This is why we don't do the podcast daily. Because to produce sports content that often, you're going to say something really stupid. And I don't know if you saw this, but Skip Bayless on whatever stupid First Take ripoff show on Fox Sports said that Mike McDonald, what's his name?
Talking about the Dolphins head coach, right?
No. Not Mike McDaniels. I know him.
I'm just making sure you mixed up a lot of names. All right,
no, that is fair. That is fair. That is well earned. That is well earned. That is well earned. Fair enough. Touche. Well played. The guy the Seahawks just hired.
Mike McDonald, yes.
Mike McDonald. Okay, it's the MAC though. Is it like McDonald? I don't fucking know. But 2 days before he got hired by the Seahawks, Skip Bayless called for his firing, which was amazing. Yeah, that is just stupid sports talk at just chef's kiss, which is what are we doing here? We're just being stupid. Because Travis Kelce had 11 targets for 11 receptions against the Baltimore Ravens.
That's true.
Admittedly, a bad job, yes. Skip was right there. Oh, God, that hurt my soul to say. But point being is, this is why I'm asking for your top 3. I think if you ask for my top 3, Kyle Shanahan would be number 1. This guy knows how to adapt to a situation. He knows how to look back at previous opponents' weaknesses against his, now opponent and adapt to it. And I think he sees that. He's like, okay, if we shut this guy down, if we shut Travis Kelce down, Mahomes is screwed. And, I honestly think, going back to the guy we talked about before with Fred Warner, he has the weapons on the defensive side of the ball and not shut him down. Travis Kelce's going to have a good game. Is he going to get to that point, though? What is it, 74 yards?
74.5.
I'm calling 65. He's going to get close, but I'm not calling the over. I think that Shanahan knows that is the key to the Chiefs' success, and I think he's going to do his best to shut him down. And that just shows how good Kelce is. 65 yards is shutting him down.
That's fair.
All right, so top 3, go.
Andy Reid.
Oh, Benedict Arnold over here.
The guy has done it. I mean, he's going to his 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. I
was about to say, if he wins this year, just real quick, yes or no, if he wins this year, is he in the Belichick conversation?
Easily.
Oh, easily.
I think so.
Okay. That's a good offseason conversation right there.
But yeah, so Andy Reid, then I'd probably go Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
Then I'd probably say Sean McVay. But Sean McVay is a close one at 2 and 3. I can interchange those for sure because Sean McVay is sort of especially the way that he coached this year.
I was just about to say,
it's so funny.
It's Sean McVay skyrocketed like this.
Yeah.
And then over the past couple of years, we're like, wow, is he good? Was that a fraud thing? And then coming into this year, we're like, is McVay for real? And then all of a sudden, we're like, yeah, no, okay. Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah. So I think that would be my top 3. I mean, definitely an offseason topic, but it's I think Mike Tomlin is good, but he's not great. I think there's a lot of things we could discuss there.
Postseason issues.
That's the 100% the big thing there. John Harbaugh has been very consistent as well in Baltimore, but I think just there's a few times he's had some down years as well. But I think that would be my top 3. It's Andy Reid for sure, Kyle Shanahan, I think right now is number 2. And then, yeah, Sean McVay is like a close 3. But honestly, I can argue Sean McVay at 2 and Kyle Shanahan at 3 too. So, but yeah, that's topic for another day there.
Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, Shane Steichen.
Hey, honestly, he did a pretty good job. I'm not gonna lie. He had the Colts in it the entire season.
If you make Anthony Richardson look good, you're an A+ in my book.
I think the biggest thing, making Gardner Minshew a Pro Bowl quarterback. I think that's saying something too.
He was so bad in the Pro Bowl. He was so bad in the Pro Bowl. It's flag football, man. How do you not hit those throws?
I know. All right, so Tad, let me get into my last game bet here, and then you can sort of take it over with some of the fun prop bets here. Let's jump back to the Niners. We got the Niners, then we got the Chiefs. So let's finish it off with the Niners here. Brock Purdy under 14 passing first downs. Now, you look at in his 18 games this season. That's a regular season. He got 16. They played that last game of the regular season. Then he's got the 2 postseason games. Purdy has thrown for 14 or more passing first downs, total of 4 times. 18 games, he's only done it 4 times. And I mean, it's like you look at the fact that they run this offense through Christian McCaffrey. And yes, I'm not taking anything away from Brock Purdy. He's been sensational this entire season. There's a lot of times that his play has led to us winning more than, Christian McCaffrey doing his Christian McCaffrey-esque type things. But I think you could also attribute the fact that it's like they like to lead on the run game. That's definitely a Kyle Shanahan staple of his offense. And when you have a guy like Christian McCaffrey, you definitely want to leverage him the most that you can. So I think even though you got great weapons in Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk, it's like you're leaning on that running game to get you all those first downs, especially on like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. You're not passing out those situations. You give it to Christian McCaffrey and he's going to get you those first downs. Or we've seen it lately too, especially in the postseason. He's been sneaking it, going for those quarterback sneaks and those runs as well. So it's like he's not passing for those first downs then. He's getting the first down, sure, but he's getting it through the ground as opposed to through the air. So was that?
I just said interesting. Like I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, no, I think that's the big thing. And then also with the Super Bowl, it's like this is where you empty the playbook. And it's like we've seen this before in the postseason where it's just like Deebo Samuel definitely is looking to sort of, do everything that he can. He ran a lot the first time they were in the Super Bowl in his rookie year. I expect him to be used as a runner a lot in this game as well to complement Christian McCaffrey. So I think he's going to run for some first downs in those sort of short yard situations as well. And also you have to look at the fact that Kansas City has given up an average of 113 rushing yards per game through the postseason so far. Through the air, though, the flip side here, only 209 passing yards per game. So you have to look at the fact that it's like you add Christian McCaffrey to the offense. You have a bad rushing defense for the Kansas City defense. Well, not bad, but just like middle of the road there. I think the game play 100% for Kyle Shanahan is like lead on Christian McCaffrey. And every so often you take those shots of Brock Purdy to sort of break up that sort of monotony of just running the ball all the time. So I think in this case, since you're not going to be passing it a ton, you're not going to meet that number. So yeah, Brock Purdy under 14 passing first downs.
I don't like this. Not the bet. It's nothing against no. It's nothing against the bet.
Sure. Okay.
It is the fact that you are now playing my role and I am now playing your role, where you're spitting all these stats at me, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta take your word for it, man. I don't know, but I will say, of course they are, but it's funny because this is exactly like fantasy football, right? Like a lot our viewers and listeners go in being like, I have this gut feeling this way, and like if I saw that bet on Underdog when I am inevitably going to place my bets tomorrow. And there's a reason I was waiting for this, so thank you for that.
Perfect.
That is a bet that I would look at and be like, I don't know enough about it, so I'm staying away from it. Now I know why I'm staying away from it. Like, and it's one of those bets where you're just like, okay, fine. But yeah, that all that information you just threw at me is crazy. What did you say? 4 first down passes, or what was the stat?
He's only had 4 games in 18 games this season. Okay. The 16 regular, the 2 full season where he's thrown for over 14 or more passing first downs.
That's insane. And look, nothing against Lamar Jackson. Like that was a very well-earned MVP. Did DeMar Hamlin win comeback player of the year, by the way? Because all I saw was
not. He did not.
Who got it? Baker?
No, not Baker either.
Flacco?
It was Joe
Flacco. Let's go. That's funny because he even said I should win it, and he still got it. That's great. Point being, though, back to the MVP race is Lamar Jackson's great, but I honestly think it should have been Chris McCaffrey because people forget too. MVP has just turned into who's the best quarterback. Christian McCaffrey, without him, that 49ers offense would be 100% completely different. It exactly like what you said. It runs through him. If that was, will Christian McCaffrey get 14 first downs? And I know that seems ridiculous. Will a running back get 14 first downs? Honest to God, I might take that. And that shows you how often they use him. So no, I like this as kind of a bet to stay away from, just because I could see, if the Niners somehow fall behind early, them like passing a lot to try to get back in it. But I just think Shanahan's smarter than that. He's more even keeled than that. He knows, okay, even if we're down 20 in the first half, a balanced offense is going to get us back in this. So, I all those stats you throw at me at a very rapid pace, by the way. Slow down with those numbers, man. My God, I'm not Rain Man over here. Yeah, good call.
I'll close it out with this, because you sort of threw a punch of like, this is a bet that you want to stay away from, especially if they fall behind early. Against Detroit, they were down by what? 14, 20 or whatever it was.
24-7, so 17 points.
Yeah, so they were down by 17 points or whatever, but it looked pretty bad. And so they kind of had to climb back their way, possibly passing their way as well. Brock Purdy only had 12 passing first downs in that game.
And one of them was a very lucky bounce off that safety.
That is true. But just especially in a game, like I said, just your counterpunch to the fact that it's like if they fall behind early, they may have to lead on Brock Purdy in the passing game.
No, that's what I'm saying. No,
do that against Detroit, and he still only ended up with 12.
You misunderstood me. That actually proves what I was saying. Is that they're not going to pass it a lot. That Kyle Shanahan is enough of like an even-headed coach that he's like, no, he's not going to do the typical thing where it's like, fuck, we got to throw 40 times a game, and they're not going to pull a I'm blanking on who the Ravens played because they played such a bad game. Or actually, that's exactly what I was thinking of, was the Ravens. They're not going to pull a Ravens and be like, we have a running quarterback, we're down, we got to throw it. They're not going to do that. Shanahan's smarter than that. He's going to, have the balance. That's what I was saying, is that the balanced offense approach, even if you're down by a lot, is how you get back in that game. And that's even saying that, okay, if they fall, down by a lot by the Chiefs, don't panic. And Shanahan is even keeled enough not to panic. So no, I actually 100% agree with what you're saying, is because, and that was the smart thing they did, was, not force. And that's kind of the knock on Purdy, but it's not really Purdy's fault that they don't lean on him. It's just not the way the offense works. I think even if Garoppolo was in there, or even if, I'm trying to think of like who's a solid, even if like Joe Burrow was in there, I think that like even if Joe Burrow in a Shanahan offense wouldn't be asked to carry the load there. The Shanahan offense since goddamn 1995 has leaned on the running back. Like, I don't know why people, and notice how no one was like, well, did LA really do all that much? Even though that is a very legitimate conversation.
That's fair.
So no,
all right,
we're both on the same page, buddy.
So those are all of our game bets there, at least my game bets for sure. But yeah, so Fred Warner over 8 tackles and assists, Travis Kelce over 74.5 receiving yards, and Brock Purdy under 14 passing first downs. All right. Let's get to the fun of the Super Bowl here.
Yeah.
And that is just all the ridiculousness when it comes to betting. I mean, just you name it, you can sort of bet on it when it comes to this game. And so, yeah, Tad, you got us covered with sort of the prop bets. I mean, I know some of the bets that I listed out were prop bets too, but I think they're more, like I said, as the bettor said, they're more game-related bets. These are more not necessarily related to the game. So, I mean, Tad, take it away. Let's see what you got here for some of your prop bets this year.
My friend, I'm not wearing this for my Miami Heat, because God knows they did not show up this month. I know it's a little hard to see.
It is very hard to tell exactly. Now I see the logo, but like
exactly.
if you're just asking me to see what it was before, it was like
I gotta figure out the lighting in this new apartment. I'm wearing a Heat shirt.
Anything written there until you actually like held it up a little better. Then I see it. No, now I see it. Now I see it a little bit better. But like the whole episode up until now, I was like, that's just a plain dark gray shirt.
Is this your way of saying I need to like work out the pecs so it like sticks out some more? Look, it's not because I'm a fan of the Heat, because I'm surely not after this month. I hate them. Scary Terry, get out of here. Anyway, that's a whole other episode that we will do.
I doubt it.
Shut up. It's because I'm about to bring the heat, baby. This is my specialty. I'm confident in 3 things. I'm a good teacher. I'm a good fantasy football analyst, whatever. Wow. I'm not a very good speaker. That's number 3. A very good number.
100% number 3. That should be higher than the other ones.
They weren't ranked in order.
Wow.
They were not ranked in order.
Wow.
I'm not a good fantasy football analyst. I am a good fantasy football analyst. I'm not a good speaker. I lost count.
You're not good at math. There's another one.
That we already knew. That's 5.
Oh, God.
Number 6.
Oh, jeez.
God damn it, do I know my Super Bowl prop odds?
There we go. That's what we're trying to wait for the payoffs there.
Long walk for a short drink of water, but God damn it, man, we got
I'll take it. It was a scenic view. I loved it.
That was a disaster. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Point being, I'm really obsessed with these bets. I love them. Most of them are, when you actually do the research, most of them are fairly easy, actually. And I will say,
sure.
I nailed the National Anthem bet, and I bet the least popular option, which was the over 2 minutes. And oh God, who was it? Whoever the hell it was. And it was funny. I had an Eagles fan. Like I said, I was at the game. I had an Eagles fan behind me who had the exact same bet as I did. I've never bonded with a fan of a team I hate so much more in my life. We were both like, carry that note, carry that note, carry that note. And they hit 206. And we both, I'm not even joking, we hugged each other.
There you go.
And I was happy. He's like, how much did you win? I was like, $50. How about you? And he goes, $250. And in my head, I'm like, good Lord, how much did you put on that? Because I put 5. I like, we just clearly stated, I'm not good at math and I'm not willing to figure it out. But, if you're a commenter, please let me know. Because, whoo, man, he lost every other bet that night. So he had a rough night.
That's it.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into it. I'll let you pick the first one. All right. Do you want to go Gatorade color? Do you want to go National Anthem? Or do you want to go the surprise bet?
Well, clearly this is not why you're the host. Otherwise, your easy transition talking about the anthem should have been the anthem bet. Add that to number 7. Thanks, you also not. That's a guarantee.
All right, number 7.
Oh, now we're at 9? Jesus
number 7. Number 7.
Oh, jeez.
Number 7. All right, so National Anthem?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, well, this is also another embarrassing fact by me. I swear to God, this is true. I shouldn't say this on air, but fuck it. So I don't really listen to music all that much. I don't really know a lot of artists.
I brought this up on the podcast so many times before.
No.
I have told you, you are
the podcast all time. Are you ready for this? So I knew the name of the singer who was going to do it before. I saw the articles and everything.
I know where this is going.
Oh, yeah, you do. And I was just like, okay, she's a country singer, experience. I was like, all right. And I was like, Reba McEntire. I don't know. So I was just like, I was doing a lot of research on her. And trust me, I know way too much about how she sings the National Anthem now. And finally, I got to an article while I was doing my research. I was like, oh, it's and I don't even know the name of the show. I just call it because it's basically a ripoff of it. I'm like, oh, it's the Everyone Loves Reba lady. I know her more from whatever shitty sitcom she ran for like 7 years than her as a country singer.
Yeah, that's
I was shocked. I knew she was a country singer. I did not know she was that well regarded as a country singer. That legitimately shocked me. It's like when I learned that Rosie O'Donnell was actually like once a respected actor. I was like, really?
Yeah, at one point.
The 90s were wild, man.
Wow. That's.
No, I had no idea it was that Reba. What was that show called? What was it actually called?
Reba.
Was it just called Reba? Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. You just get to the bet, sort of save yourself here, because you are just digging yourself into a deeper hole every word that you say so far.
So the star of Everyone Loves Reba. This is the easiest National Anthem call I've ever made in the, I want to say roughly 13 years I've been making this bet. I know
Okay.
people are going to go, Ted, you're 29. You've been making this bet since you were 16. Yes, I have. Because the way this originally started was I always hosted the Super Bowl party in my house, in my basement, and my dad would make a packet. It was funny because at the time I was like, how's my dad come up with this stuff? And then I realized he would just go to the betting sites and just copy and paste them. When I grew
Nice.
up, I was like, oh,
Nice.
that's how you did it. So I love you, Dad. It was fun. But now I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But anyway, so it was like whoever won the most bets got like how about this date myself got like a Blockbuster gift card or something like that. Yeah.
Blockbuster. There
All
we
right.
go. Let's go.
In the 13 years I've been doing this, this is the easiest call I've ever had to make. So the over under is currently set at minute 30, and over a minute 30 is set at plus 102. Okay, under, and again, this stands to change. Under is currently minus 128. I saw a minute 30, and like I said, last year was 2 minutes. Usually the typical over under is around 2 minutes. So I saw a minute 30. I'm like, oh, I'm taking the over immediately. And I started doing the research. I see why that's the favorite. So she has done the national anthem over 24 times.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is crazy. That is a lot of research, which I was happy with because that last year I had one video to go off of.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an unknown singer last year. I'm blanking
I
on
don't
who
even
it
remember.
was, but
Yes,
yeah.
you're not even, but we both don't remember this. So,
Yes.
okay. The over has won the last 60% of Super Bowls in the last 10 years. So that's why normally I go with the overs. However, historically, you look at Everyone Loves Reba's renditions. Not a single one has topped a minute 30. Not a single one.
Wow. Okay.
Do you want to know her longest national anthem was?
1 minute and 20 seconds.
Oh, you were close. 123.
23.
Now,
Okay.
here's the key thing, because why do I usually bet the over is because I always say, these artists, they're going to try to like make the most of it. They're going to try to like really belt it, show off their stuff for the Super Bowl. That 123 mark was set at the World Series.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I want to see if you remember who was in this World Series because God knows I had to look it up. Talk about boring. These ratings would suck today if this was the matchup. It was the 1997 World Series.
That was the year the Marlins won.
Mm-hmm.
So was it the Marlins and the Braves, I want to say?
No, that was 03.
Ah, dang.
No, they were both NL. That's not right. I don't know. I don't know who the Marlins beat in 03, but it was the Marlins and the then Indians.
Indians. Okay.
Could you imagine if that was a matchup today? Marlins versus Guardians, those ratings would be so bad.
Well, we did have at the time they were the Indians still. We had Indians Cubs, and that was actually a pretty good World Series.
Okay, that was the Cubs though. That was not Cleveland.
And also, granted, that was now that was 2016, so that was what 8 years ago?
8 years ago. Fuck, we're old.
So that's been a long time too now. So yeah, if it was now, yeah, that'd be terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So bottom line being is if you're not belting it for the World Series in the 90s, you're not belting it for the Super Bowl almost 30 years later. And that brings me to my next point, and this is going to come off a little sexist. It's not because she's a woman. I would say the exact same thing. She's a man. She's almost 30 years older at this point.
That's true.
Does she have the ability to continue to like drag it out for 2 minutes? Especially when she clearly doesn't have the tendency to drag it out. So I very rarely do I do this. I am going with a minus 128 favorite. Take the under a minute 30 on the national anthem.
All right. I like it. I like
swear to God, if you're one of those people that's like, you lost me the bet. I'm like, what are you talking about? We won the bet. And they go, well, America the Beautiful went for long. That's not the national anthem.
National anthem.
It's a national anthem. It is not all the bullshit before it. Like, God, at least once a year, somebody texts me of like, you said it would be this. I'm like, what are you talking about? It hasn't started. I had someone text me while I was at the game of like, I lost the national anthem bet. I'm like, it hasn't started yet.
All right, Tal, let's get to your next bet. What do you got for me?
All right, you want gay rate or surprise?
Let's go with surprise.
This one shocked me. This is probably the easiest bet of the night.
Okay.
The current over-under, at least where I checked. And no, I will not mention them. How many times will Taylor Swift show up on TV?
Okay, interesting.
So we're gonna play a nice version of over-under. You ready for this?
Okay.
What do you think it's set at?
Well, this isn't really fair because you sent me
Shut
a
up.
note.
Shh. Keep the illusion. It's theater of the mind, man.
We like to give people the peek
It's
behind the curtain here, so we like to let the fill them
to a
in.
point. To a point. It's called. There's a line between a bit, and you already ruined it. Shut up. All right. So my third favorite bet. Second, third. My third favorite bet is Taylor Swift over on TV 4.5 times. I cannot believe it is that low. So, okay, let's assume Chiefs score, 3 touchdowns? I feel like that's a safe assumption, right?
I could see that happening, yeah.
3 touchdowns, because, even if Travis Kelce doesn't, even if Travis Kelce doesn't score it, they're still going to show her celebrating. And especially if Mahomes, and now here's the key part, it's how many times she shows up on TV, not how many times is it because of her she shows up on TV. So, let's say Mahomes sneaks one in, or Mahomes runs a 5-yarder in for a touchdown. Who are they going to show? Brittany Mahomes. Who's going to be seated right next to Brittany Mahomes after a 13-hour flight from Tokyo? Yes, I've read up on it this much. Taylor Swift.
That is true.
So she's going to get that Mahomes, little, camera action as well. There's no way she shows up. I honest to God, if I was the odds maker, I put it at 7.5. 4.5 is an easy over.
That seems a little extreme.
No. Nah. Nada. Nope.
For me, I think it's too much. I think it's like after every touchdown, I think that's a safe bet that they're going to pan to the camera over there for sure. If Kelce makes a huge reception, especially if they're down, then it's like that. There's a potential they can pan over there. So I like the number of 4.5. I also think it'll go over, but 7.5, that's a little extreme for me because it's like they also tried their best to sort of go away from pandering to just obviously.
Why would they? Why would they do that? No, they're not. It's the Super Bowl. You're not going to lose viewers because of Taylor Swift.
I know that,
but I just stay in the game. All right, hold on. Game, just from purely stuff happening on the field. How many shots of Taylor Swift? Purely from just happening on the field.
Just from the field, I can imagine at least 3. So I'm going to stay. Maybe 4. I'm going to say 4.
Okay. All right. Fair. I was going to say 5. So 4. We'll stick with that. And yeah. I swear to God, I'm actually good at math. That was just a bit. All right. So we got 4 there. You got at least one coming back from commercial, right?
I got 100% as they get closer to the halftime show. They're going to be like, oh, we got the halftime show coming up with Usher. They're going to pan to Taylor, and then they're going to talk about her Grammy wins and all that stuff. It's a national transition that they get on TV. So I got that one there for 5, and then maybe we get one more. So I got 6. So I'm going to go with 6. That's my total. I'm going to go with 6.
I think that's where we're differing, though, is because I agree with you. We got one, kind of preview the halftime show. One, I'm going in at 6 when the halftime show begins. Of Taylor getting ready. 7 at Taylor applauding Usher at the end.
Okay, interesting. That's a possibility.
And then you throw in one rando. Travis Kelce does something weird, or Chiefs are getting blown out. You show her all sad, or Chiefs are blowing you guys out, and you show her all happy. And then you get one celebration shot at the end. Mahomes takes the knee because this is true. Vegas is very tricky about this. Post-game celebrations do not count. Once that game clock hits 0, it does not count.
Sure.
But Mahomes takes the knee at 5 seconds, and as it's counting down, you know what they're going to do. Here's the team celebrating. Here's the team celebrating with 1 second left. There's the box.
It's possible.
That's 8, baby. That's over 7.5. And once again, 7.5 is a number that I would pick. It's 4.5, and we both went over on that.
I do like the 4.5, but yeah, if it was at 7.5, I'd be like, nope, I'm leaning more towards the under. But you laid out a good argument, but for me, I think it just, I don't see it happening that much.
Over 7.5. Definitely over 4.5. All right, let's get into the Gatorade bets. My favorite of all time. So, God, I can't believe I actually spent time researching this. Here are the current odds.
You do it every year.
I do it every year, and I love it. It's a waste of my time, and I absolutely love it. Purple's the current.
Did you last year?
To be honest, I don't remember. I don't think so. No, because I thought it was going to be yellow or green, and it ended up being purple. And that is why purple is the favorite this year at plus 225. Yellow/green is the second favorite at plus 300. Orange has tied it for plus 300. Then we got blue and red coming in at plus 350. We got clear/water at plus 1,000. And no bath at all at plus 1,600. Now, you may say, no bath at all. Why would that ever happen? And I bet you I don't even need to give you these three guesses, but that actually has happened in the last decade. Do you want to guess the coach who got no bath at all?
Belichick probably once.
Yeah, absolutely 100% correct. You are 100% correct. It was the Belichick against the Falcons too. Like arguably his greatest Super Bowl win ever. And he did not get a bath during it. So yes, that is why it's still an option. But I'm going to say, well, first off, let me back this up with, in the last 10 years, blue has been the winner 40% of the time. That is the leader among all colors. So blue has been 4 out of 10 in the past 10 years. Orange is second most at very close 30%. Okay. So interesting. So orange is actually pretty good. So
I remember when they won in 2019, it was orange. And the only reason I know that is because I had to see, like, once again, they're showing that game, the rematch on NFL Network, like all the time right now. So it's like I've seen highlights of them bathing Andy Reid in orange Gatorade. So I know that for sure.
So with that said, though, is orange tends to be like every 3 years or so. They just kind of got lucky. Blue tends to go on a bit of a streak every now and then. So blue just seems to be the most popular Gatorade that these teams tend to use. So with blue being a middle of the pack favorite at plus 350, while the other, everybody above him is, or her, no need to sexualize Gatorade. Everybody above them, shut up. It's not being politically correct. Is either plus really 300 or plus 255.
Bring up the topic of sexualizing Gatorade on the podcast ever in my life. So just like, kudos to you for that one, but just, dear Lord, that's weird.
Go woke or go broke. Point being is, whatever that Gatorade is, this is what happens when I record the podcast at 11:45 my time. You brought this on yourself, sir.
Oh, jeez.
I think that blue is your best, value for your buck there at plus 350, given that, once again, it has been the favorite of the last decade. It seems to be the most popular. And I will say this, no matter what you bet on, do not do this trick to bet on this, to bet on these odds. I hate when people do this so much. What are the team colors? Teams do not determine their Gatorade color based off what jersey they wear. That is a terrible way of going about it. If you look, most of the time, and by most of the time, I mean 80% I looked this up, 80% of the time in the last decade, that theory has proven false. They do not use team colors to determine their Gatorade color. Stop doing that. I see it every year on Twitter. Is what color is Kansas City going to wear? Oh, they're going to wear the red jerseys, which, by the way, I think they're going red jerseys. You guys are going white. They're going red, right?
That's been determined early in the week. Yeah. So Niners are wearing the white jerseys, and the Kansas City Chiefs are wearing the red jerseys.
Hot take here, white gold. Your guys' worst jersey set.
Yeah, not a huge fan of that one.
Just go all white. Your color rushes are great. But anyway, point being is, jersey color does not determine Gatorade color. Stop spreading that rumor. So for the love of God, if anything, I'm more confident that it's not going to be red than any of the other colors it will be. But if I had to place a bet on it, and I will, I'm putting my money on blue. You're my boy, blue.
I'd also throw the fact that I really doubt they do the same color 2 years in a row. So I don't think it'd be purple 2 years in a row.
Good point.
Like, I'm sort of leaning on towards
that. And purple was a pretty big underdog last year too. So it's just like, it seems like that's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to go purple as the favorite.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So we'll see how that plays out as well. So really quickly, Tab, why don't you recap all of your prop bets again?
All right. So I like the victory bath to be blue Gatorade at plus 350. I am taking the under 1 minute, 30 seconds National Anthem bet at minus 128. And Taylor Swift is what I almost said. Taylor Swift shows up at over 4.5 times. Those odds are rapidly shifting. They literally changed while I was doing research for this, so I did not feel confident giving the odds for that. But assuming it stays at 4.5, definitely over.
All right, Tad, let's really quickly close out the episode with sort of our Super Bowl preview. Just really quick predictions here. So, I mean, last time these two teams played, it was 4 years ago in Super Bowl 54. Chiefs came out with a victory 31-20. Patrick Mahomes was named the MVP, throwing for 286 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns. He had 2 passing, 1 rushing touchdown. Chiefs finished the season as the number 3 seed. San Francisco was able to secure the number 1 seed. Chiefs had 11-6 record. Niners had 12-5 record. In the playoffs, the Chiefs had a point differential, Tad, of plus 29. The San Francisco 49ers only had a point differential of plus 6. So allowing a lot of points to scoring a lot of points. So currently in this game, as of recording, the 49ers are currently favored by 1.5 points in the spread. And the over-under is set at 47.5. So Tad, simple question. Who's winning this game, and why do you think they're going to win the game?
So I said during the Senior Bowl live stream that I think the 49ers are going to be able to pull this one out. But first off, I said that on about 3 or 4 hours of sleep because I stayed up all night scouting the night before. And I don't think it was a bad take at the time, but the more research I did, the more I realized 2 things. 1, the Chiefs have been way better lately than I thought. And, 2, you guys have gotten real lucky the last month or so.
That's
Like
true.
it's
That
luck has fallen your way. So if luck continues to do that, that's fine. But I'm also not fully confident in that. And that Chiefs defense has been really, really good as of late. So if they can show up, I think, you know what, I'm going to switch the scores slightly. I think I said the Chiefs are only going to score 17 and the 49ers are going to score 27. I'm going to flip it. I'm taking Chiefs 27, 49ers 20.
Okay. And who's your Super Bowl MVP?
It's going to be Mahomes. It's the same thing. It's just like whoever wins that. Whoever is quarterback's got to get it.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it too. I know they've gotten a lot luckier in these past 2 postseason games here. Their defense has sort of been, like I said, under fire the last couple of weeks. But I think with the week off, the just 2 weeks preparation, this is their 3rd time, sort of like trying to rectify a wrong for Kyle Shanahan, specifically being in 2 Super Bowls and losing leads. But I think this is the one where it's like if he falls behind, I think he has the confidence that he's done it twice before. Yes, maybe a little bit of luck was on his side, but hey, sometimes in football games you need a little bit of luck as well. But hey, whatever it is, but just like sometimes luck is on your side. And I feel like that's the case for the Niners this year. I think they're just going to have everything going right for them. And so I think initially during the Senior Bowl, I think I said the Niners are going to win 27-24 with Jake Moody winning the game leading field goal. I think I said game winning at the time, but I think it's going to be game leading. So they'll win it by a field goal, but I think they'll increase that lead. So I think the Niners get to 30. And I think the Chiefs end up with 24. And I like Christian McCaffrey still to be the MVP. I think he's just going to have a fantastic game. Like we talked about, they're going to lead on him to the offense on him for specifically. Brock Purdy will still have a great game too. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey is going to put on a show at the Super Bowl on the grandest stage of them all. So 30-24, I like the Niners to come away with the victory.
Imagine going from the Carolina Panthers to Super Bowl MVP within 2 calendar years.
I will take it. I will take it every single time. 100% you will too. All right, Tad. So that will close out our Super Bowl episode here. Guys, make sure you're subscribing to all of our social media handles. You see them down below. You got me at UmTheSide23. You got Tad Side94. Got the show handle at The Side Guys. And of course, on Instagram at The Side Guys as well. So hit us up with all of your Super Bowl takes. What do you think about all the bets that we made in today's episode? Do you have some questions on some other bets that you want to make? Get our opinions. We're here to help you out with that. We're still your draft guys. So we took a quick break to talk about the Super Bowl here, but after the Super Bowl's over, we're going to be getting heavy into the draft content again. The combine's going to be right around the corner, the pro days, and of course the actual draft itself, NFL offseason. So please hit us up with all of your thoughts on everything that's going to be happening after the Super Bowl. Guys, subscribe or listen to your podcast. We listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. You can listen right on the LAFB Network website as well. Subscribe. Always be up to date with our podcast. Watch us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And guys, please support our parent network at LAFB Network. They are there at Radio Row during the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. That's what I was trying to say earlier there. So you got the whole crew there. You got Ryan Dyrud, Will Decker, Dan Wokenstein, Skinny T, Ryan Anderson's out there too. So you got a whole crew out there getting some great interviews, lots of great content on the website and the social media handles as well. So go check them out. Lots of great content. But guys, to everybody who's already supporting us in so many ways, whether subscribing to the podcast, subscribing to YouTube, interacting with us on social media. I mean, seriously, we can't thank you enough.
And we're heading into the off season, which means that Murr and I, we're about to get real bored real quick. So if you have any baseball, basketball,
Ooh, baseball.
baseball's coming up. They're
2 weeks
reporting
we
in
got
what,
spring
2 weeks?
training.
I was about to say 2 weeks. They're reporting. How about those Mavs with that PJ Washington trade? Woo! Interesting. So look, we follow all types of sports. So, if you want us to answer any of those questions, if you need help building your draft board to look smart in front of your friends, we got you. If you want, our thoughts on your mock draft, dude, I read way too many mock drafts as it is. I do not mind adding one more to my, list. So any draft questions you guys have, send them on over. Any, draft topics you want us to talk about, send them on over, especially as, that pro day season starts hitting. It tends to get a little hard to think of new ideas. So we are more than open to talk about what you guys want. All you need to do is, once again, hit us up on those socials right below. That's the first time I've ever nailed that timing. That's awesome. And please, as always, everyone, keep listening, keep watching. Thank you so much for your support, and please stay safe.